I'm Shannon Breen. This is America's Newsroom. Those U.S. casualties are the result of renewed fighting between the U.S. and Iran. U.S. forces have bombed Iran for 11 straight nights. The campaign's focused on military targets around the Strait of Hormuz, but could soon be expanding.
So President Trump saying the U.S. will soon strike the fortified site known as Pickaxe Mountain. Israel reportedly believes that Iran is hiding centrifuges there, recently moved, they believe. The U.S. calls the nuclear Iran a non-starter. Here is Marco Rubio from the Philippines earlier today.
We think that a nuclear-armed Iran is an unacceptable thing. It can't happen. And that's what they were going to do if they hid behind this conventional shield that they were building. And the president just was going to stand by and allow that to happen. As far as the impact it's had on the global economy, I mean, Iran is targeting global shipping and international waterway and demanding to control which ships can go and which ones cannot. That just is unacceptable. We're not going to accept that.
Trey Yingst is reporting live from Tel Aviv. And Trey, we've got new word from the president this morning.
Yeah, Shannon, good morning. Just moments ago, President Trump issued a new warning to Iran. He posted on Truth Social saying from this point forward, anytime the Islamic Republic of Iran shoots at a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, whether it be by missile, rocket, drone, or any other device or weapon, the United States will bomb and destroy one bridge or power plant, including those located next to or in the capital city of Tehran. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Overnight, Iran launched new attacks in the Gulf, targeting both Kuwait and Bahrain with drones. Earlier this morning, the Jordanians also reported incoming Iranian fire. Missiles were intercepted near the southern city of Aqaba, with explosions heard over the border in southern Israel. This does come after another night of heavy U.S. strikes that hammered the Iranians. This time, the target list expanded. Reports indicate far deeper strikes inside of Iranian territory, along with a variety of positions along the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM released a statement saying over the past 3 months, Iran has attacked more than 30 commercial vessels transiting the international waterway, vital for regional and global trade. The unwarranted attacks have endangered hundreds of innocent mariners and undermined freedom of navigation. The strait remains largely at a standstill, with just 9 vessels passing through on Tuesday, according to updated Kepler shipping data. The other area of focus still remains Iran's nuclear program and what remains of it, specifically Pickaxe Mountain that sits next to the Natanz nuclear facility. Reports do indicate Iran moves centrifuges into the tunnels of the mountain, and President Trump says the area will be targeted in the days ahead.
We follow the material. That's where the action is, and we'll be hitting that area probably pretty soon. And there's not a thing they can do about it. Normally I wouldn't say that. If I thought they could do something about it, I would never say that. But we'll be hitting that area pretty soon, and very heavily.
While both the United States and Iran have left open the door for a diplomatic solution, no breakthrough has been reached yet, despite efforts from Qatar and Pakistan. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said earlier today that Iran is not serious about talks right now.
We remain open to diplomacy. We remain open to working it out in a negotiated way. But right now, they don't seem to be serious about that. And so we're going to continue to protect shipping. We think other countries should join us in that endeavor. We don't need them to, but they should, because they're more impacted by it than we are. And at the same time, we are going to, when the opportunity presents itself, degrade their ability to target global shipping.
President Trump will leave shortly for the dignified transfer of those 4 fallen U.S. service members who were killed over the weekend. But again, major news this morning, Shannon, President Trump issuing this new warning to the Iranian regime. Target a vessel in the Strait of Hormuz, and there will be a heavy price to pay.
Something to watch there. Trey, continue our conversation here. The whole idea about this naval blockade is to try and starve Iran of much-needed money. Is that working, or is there other economic pressure that we can report today?
Yeah, right now there's an immense amount of economic pressure on the Iranian regime with the U.S. naval blockade back in place. The Iranians are losing hundreds of millions of dollars each and every day, and inflation is rapidly rising inside of Iran. Over the weekend, the Iranian rial versus the U.S. dollar was 2 million to 1, nearly 2 million rial to 1. This is unheard of in terms of the Iranian economy. And we know that there are these standing issues. The Iranians, before this war began, had trouble getting water to their own people. They were considering moving the capital of Tehran. And so there's an immense amount of domestic economic pressure on the Iranian regime, and that situation is getting worse each and every day. Now with this new warning from President Trump that if the Iranians continue to attack vessels in the strait, He says he's going to target power plants or bridges. This only increases the military pressure on the regime. And so you have both economic and military pressure taking place and questions about what comes next.
Yeah, got
Bill,
it. Trey,
Shannon?
thanks. Terrific work. Trey Yingst, thanks. Tel Aviv. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.